How's it going, Scrub Gamers? Welcome back to another video here at Scrub Games, and today I'm going to do a tier list, and it's a tier list over all the leaders from set 1 and set 2 that kind of go over where I feel, just from like initial thoughts and a bit of theory and testing, where I feel the leaders will be for this first set. Now, this is just my opinion, my assumptions, so you can take it with a grain of salt. Some people have different views. Some people think some things are some people might think certain leaders are better than my view, or some are worse than my view. But this is just going from my experience of playing the game, playing a Star Wars, playing multiple card games, and also just from my initial reactions to set 2. So we're gonna get into it. Remember, this is just based on because the set is just officially releases on Friday. We've had the pre-release, we've had been able to do testing online and stuff because we've seen all the reveals, and it's just what I feel is going to be my assumptions for it, and we'll have a look at it on a later date to see if I was right or if it was some was better than I thought, or some was worse than I thought. So with that out of the way, we'll get into the video. But before we do, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. It keeps you updated with my videos as when they drop. And by clicking the notification bell, you can get alerts to when my videos do drop, so you can watch them there and then at a different time or better time that suits you. So now it's out of the way, we're just going to quickly go over the tiers. So I haven't gone with the tier 0, tier 1, tier 2, blah 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 kind of thing, or S, A, B, C and stuff like that. I've gone for a little bit different, where I've gone for what leaders I feel would be meta. So the most meta, if you don't know what that stands for, because not everybody does, it stands for most effective tactics available. So that means the decks that have the most effective tactics that can secure a win, things like effects on a leader, or just card combination, cards available in those aspects. And these are the ones I feel when you get into a tournament, these are ones you would expect to play against and basically build your deck to kind of combat. And then you got the strong ones, which are not the most effective, but they are very strong, very good. They can pull out wins. They can do quite well. You might see a few jump in the top cut, or even win an event every so often. And these are ones that are going to be really good, just not the absolute ones you feel like you're guaranteed to see at an event. Then we got Rogue. So these are more the ones that are still still strong, could sneak in the top cut, not guaranteed to see it. Ones that can sneak in and take you by surprise and kind of things like that. So ones that could potentially do well, but you're not guaranteed to see them, and they're not the most strongest, but have the surprise as a good element to them. Then we got the ones that we feel are either have some future potential where they're not great now, but could be very good in the future, depending on leader. We've seen some effects, Doc Alpha for just spoiler, has a very nice effect that with certain kind of cards drop, discard effects and stuff like that in the future, could be a lot stronger. Or cards that or leaders that are just casual, where they're not just quite there, that you could take them to locals and have fun with them, or even do well, but they're more of a casual deck than it's you expect, you probably see do well or expect or might do well at an event. And then we got leaders that are just bad, Jar Jar bad. Now with set 1, I did go with the whole thing of nothing's bad, they're just more potential casual, had potential casual split into 2 different tiers. But I feel there are some leaders that kind of are actually bad, not great. Just because either they're given stats or effect is not great. Now we're getting more leaders and more effects. If we keep getting the same amount of leaders, 18 leaders every set, then we're going to pile up with leaders very, very quickly. And we're going to have some that are just absolutely terrible and pointless when something else existed, the same aspect, or does the same thing in a different aspect maybe. So those are the ones, and those are the tiers. And we're going to start off by, we're going to go in color order. So we're going to go with the blue ones, go from the dark side to the light side. Same, then green, same thing. Then with red, same thing, and then finish off with the yellow ones. So we are starting off with Krennic. Now Krennic's one that I don't see the point in playing him over some of the other leaders. When because typically with blue and green are one of the color aspect combinations that kind of go well together, what most dark leaders are played in, playing blue. If they're blue, they have green with them, or if they're green, they have blue with them, because you get some really good help, good removal and heal effects in blue, and then some ramp and good late game effects in green, which combine really well, especially in the dark side, where it's all about controlling, and that's mainly what the dark side does. It plays a very controlling game. And for Krennic, most different ways you play him, between green, red, blue, yellow, and mono blue. So one of the other leaders kind of does it better. Which if you want to go blue yellow, you go with Boba. I say Boba's a lot better as a blue yellow leader. Well, so a blue yellow for the dark side. If you want to go red, Vader seems like a lot better at blue-red than Krennic, and if you want to go double blue, I would say go Iden, and then for like if you want to go green-blue, I would say like Palpatine's like a lot better option, even Tarkin really. So why do you think he's good? I do think he's more of a rogue leader, like one that I don't expect like it's more surprising when you see him like why he's not running out. Like he's not too bad. Like his stats are pretty good. Like a 2-7 is pretty good. Means he's being taken out straight away by takedown. Because that's one thing you want to kind of think about when it comes to health on a leader. Is if it can be taken out by takedown, it means it can essentially like deploy and then be taken out as soon as possible. So that's not something you want to avoid. But then he doesn't have the most power at 2, but then he does, if he takes damage, he does increase, which is his own effect of giving anything damage an extra +1 power. So it could become a 3-7, but then he only offers that effect, like making your damage cards more powerful. But if they're taken out straight away, you don't have to worry about that effect. And also, he only gains to restore what he's deployed, and what is restored to, which is pretty nice. It's only when he's deployed, so once he's taken out, that's it. You've lost that bit of healing there, and have to rely on other things. So Krennic is like more rogue, is like not one I would expect to see, but like given we got more leaders and better options, but he is not too bad. And we got Iden. Now I don't feel this is meta. Like I'm not gonna put it there for a minute because I think like Iden's very strong. Like you can play like double blue, and like now I've got a second set. We've kind of doubled the size of our like cards and our options. So before we only had like 3 double blue cards, we now have 6. Like however many like dark side blue cards, we now have double that. We have double normal blue, so we've got a lot more options than just the small card pool we have. So we got even more removal. We got Rivals Fall and Fell the Dragon as more better removal effects, and we also got a slew of different like dark side blue cards, even more double blue cards that can help as well, and also some more like just dark side cards and stuff as well. So just getting a few like a bigger card pool with more options that I keep with the whole thing, and like doing very good for control, like very controlling, a lot of healing as well. Could be like she was already doing very well for set 1 as a double blue leader, but now with more more options in the blue aspect, having more like she's having a bigger card pool now, she can do a lot, like do as well, even just as well, even a bit better now. Then we got Gar Saxon. So Gar Saxon's interesting because it's all about upgrades. So that means you gotta have more and if you want to have a good amount of events, like there's a lot of good events in the dark side, you've also got to have the upgrades with it to go with it, and but you can do some pretty nice plays. I feel Gar Saxon, not kind of sure which aspects the best to go with them, but like red, like you have a good amount of red because there's more like Mandalorians in blue and red, so you can go for that if you want to go for a Mandalorian focus. That's pretty nice. You could also go with yellow and have like good use of, like snapshot reflexes, like a very good one that potentially gives a +2 unless it attacks straight away to a unit. And if it gets that unit's defeated while he's deployed, get straight back to your hand. And you also got like the kind of controlling thing aspect in green, and you can even go double blue. Like I want to try out my double blue deck. Can have like an almost unkillable Sentinel in which character was it? Lieutenant Charlton and Second Chance. You can kind of like almost like an unkillable loop of a Sentinel for the Grand Arena, keeping Gar Saxon around. And I reckon that'd be quite cool. Now this is more. I don't expect it to do much more because you got to remember there was already some really good leaders for set 1. And you got to think about what do the set 2 leaders offer that could potentially do better than some of the set 1 ones. So you got to think when a new not set leaders, do they do anything better than the set 1 leaders, or do they do anything different than the set 1 leaders? And how, if they do something different, how does that impact? And how does that, well, like help you actually win the game and do well? So Gar Saxon, I reckon it could be a rogue, like better than Krennic. Could be quite a nice one. So he doesn't deploy too late, like 6 is not too bad. And he comes out with pretty solid stats, like same as Boba, 4-7, which is pretty good. And also gives anything upgraded, you can upgrade himself, an extra boost. So you can even put things like the Darksaber on him, that make him a lot stronger if you go for Mandalorian focus. And the nice thing about Mandalorian, the Darksaber, is you don't have to worry about running green just to run Darksaber, because Darksaber, as long as it's on a Mandalorian, it ignores the aspect penalty. So if you want to run like red, blue focus Mandalorians, you can also run Darksaber, not worrying about having to pay the green aspect, because it ignores it because Gar's a Mandalorian. You know, you'll put in your leader because it's harder to remove, and then he then becomes a 9 10 because he gets the +1 from his effect due to be upgraded. He gets the +4 power from the Darksaber and +3 health as well, because I think Darksaber is a 4-3 boost. So it becomes a 9-10, which is pretty scary on lead, especially with it swinging hard and buffing up all your Mandalorians. Could be quite interesting. I do want to try it out in a different, with a Mandalorian focus one, and also double Lu when they're trying that kind of unkillable Sentinel. But we'll see when I get the cards for it. Then we got Kira. Now, I've seen this get more support. I didn't think it was that great because essentially when it comes out, it looks cool as like a 0-8 as like a 0-8 for its stats, but then it has grit, so any does damage it does take with a huge attacks defensive stat like health stat. Sorry, it can be very powerful, but then when it does deploy, it heals everything, including your opponents and yours, and then it does damage to them. So if your opponent's playing like quite a lot of like shielded units, like sometimes yellow does have a fair few cards that do get shielded, or even blue, they kind of can shield their cards as well. Then you essentially heal them any damage they might have taken before the shield is on them, and then don't take anything after you got a shield, don't take anything, but you've kind of damaged your own. And if the shields you can give it from the front side stick on your cards, then that's cool. Otherwise, you're just healing yours and then doing damage, and even potentially more damage than you had before. And what is really nice, actually, can like take out most leaders in the game by just like with this and takedown, be able to just go unless they've got more than 10 health, which is only like Jabba at the moment. You can bring her out, heal everything, make them take half damage, and everything's all leaders are within range of takedown to being just defeated, unless they've got a boost. But even got a boost, they got a big boost to kind of go higher. But yeah, she has a pretty nice niche in that. She can take out any leader by just being deployed, just basically halving their health and then taking them out with takedown, while also then being a 4-4. But then that's all she provides. And once she's back in the leader area, she's then damaging things to give them a shield, which is not too bad. But I would say, like, I reckon she could be strong because taking out a leader quite quickly is pretty nice. And be able to give shields even if damage. If you got there's a fair bit of heal in blue, you can even use a double blue card that like heals 8 for damage. Well, you got shields on, you can heal damage off. One of the other ways to kind of heal damage off of cards as well, so it could be pretty nice. So I reckon she is strong, but like probably like lower end of strong than it is at the beginning. Then we've got next one is Chewbacca. Now I thought this was going to be a lot better when it got to set 2 and we got more Wookiees, but the only problem is you do have a fair few Wookiees in blue and heroic, so blue and the good side. So you got in the good side? You've got Tarful and the Wookiee warrior. Then you've got, I think is it just one you've got in blue? No, you've got Chewbacca, Gentle Giant, and Wilshire Tree Tender in blue. So you've got a fair few, at least 3 different Wookiees you can get from the just for his own aspects to play him in, so you can go for Wookiee Tribal. But then the other Wookiees you do get in the set are in yellow, which is like the one that has, I can't remember what the name of it is, but it's got no effects on it. It's just got a 3/5 free cost that has I can't remember. I can't find the card right now, but it's a one that's got a Wookiee trait in it, but then all the other traits as well, like droid and stuff. And you also got the Wookiee. Oh, what's the other Wookiee called? It's like a Wookiee, like with a bounty on it, like escaped Wookiee or something. It's like a yellow, like the 2-cost 3/3 one. So like you've got some other Wookiee, and even like Chewbacca in set 1, you've got some of the other Wookiees in yellow, so you can have a fair few Wookiees if you go yellow, blue. The problem is Chewbacca deploys quite late at 7 resources, so you're waiting until turn 6 to deploy Chewbacca if you want to play tribal Wookiees, and even then, like most of the Wookiees are quite like big costing. Like Chewbacca's unit is an 8 cost, your Gentle Giant is 6, Tarful is 7. So these are like Wookiees that are quite late to play, and there's a chance that when you do play them, they get taken out straight away. So ideally, you want to play it with green so you can ramp up as quick as possible, so you can start playing out these like high-costing Wookiees that have some very good stats because they've got a lot of bulk, and then they've mostly got grit, so any damage they're taking, they're just hitting back harder because it's adding to the power. But then if you're running the green, then you can still run the blue and white Wookiees, but you can't really run the yellow Wookiees without incurring the aspect penalty because so you're looking at out a few Wookiees, but you're locking yourself out of the kind of worse of the Wookiees, because you've got there's only a 2 and 3 cost Wookiee, which are just stats and don't really have any beneficial effects. You've got the Chewbacca in set 1, which is a Sentinel, but then you've got the better ones, like you've got Tarfall, that anytime a Wookiee takes damage and survives, it deals damage to a unit equal to the damage it took. You've got Gentle Giant, which heals your cards, while you can heal a unit equal to the damage taken, has grit and like 8 health. You got Chewie, who's got I think 8 or 10 health and like a big amount of health, like as a unit, and then comes down and pops. I think there's 5 or less remaining HP and has grit. And then you've got the Warrior Wookiee, which draws and has grit. Well, draws if you control a Wookiee and has grit. And you've got the Welshi Tree Wookiee that can that has grit as well. I think it's just got grit, but it's like a free cost 2/4, I think it is, or 2/3. But then it just, you can play it with like Chewbacca and make it a Sentinel, so you have to attack into it, and then it adds to its power because of grit. And you got Chewbacca himself coming down as Sentinel with grit, so the more damage and 9 health as well, which would be difficult to take down. So if you play Chewbacca with green, you sort a good amount of Wookiees. But then I think it's more of a casual deck, or even like casual and potential, because the more Wookiees we get, we can get like even more Wookiees, like even more like cheaper costing Wookiees. Maybe some Wookiees in green as well, maybe at some point that could do well. But the annoying thing is, like, if he went into green with the Wookiees, then it would make more sense to then go in the color that has the ramp, so you can kind of get like deploy Chewbacca quicker and play some of the Wookiees quicker because they are very high costing. But you knock yourself out some everyone's, but you do have a good combination with green and blue, which is quite nice. But I think it's more casual than it is, because if you're going for tribal, it's way more casual. But then even outside of casual, if you want to go like a proper competitive way to play Chewbacca in his aspects, you'd rather just play a different leader, to be honest. Then we go to the next one, we go Turret, and this one I think is going to be a good rogue one, because you can play it in many different ways. It's like a very good effect, so when it's deployed, it's going to be hard to take down. But the only problem is it is within takedown range, so you have to be worried of that when you do deploy it, because it can be taken out as soon as it's deployed straight away if they have takedown and enough resources to play it. But then if you can get it out, not be taken out by takedown and then upgrade it, then it's out the way of that. And then from then on, it's going to be very hard to take down because it can't be KO'd by damage. So if you would do enough damage that would KO it, it would just stay there, and then it would defeat itself when you go to the resupply phase at the end. But then you can always heal it before it gets that phase, so it survives and then stays there. It is a really sticky leader, and is good because it's a very sticky leader. It offers the Rebel and Force traits. You've got those both beneficial traits, which is something Rey doesn't have. Rey does have Force, but he doesn't have Force Rebel. And he's got pretty decent stats at 3 health, and even if you put a Jedi Lightsaber on it, it goes down to a 6/8, which is very good stats. And he's got a lot of good use out of the Force stuff as well. The only problem is, now we have Rey, which offers a little bit more, like, while Rey isn't as sticky as Turret, it does offer healing with its own Restore Free, so it's kind of, Rey might be a better way to play double blue, but if you want to play blue-red, then Turret's a very good way to play it. But I think he's rogue because he can snatch it in the play, and he even did snatch some games and do quite well in some events. I think he's more rogue than he is strong compared to the other ones. I'm just being realistic with this. So even though I do love Turret, would like him to be higher, I feel he is a bit more rogue. Then we got Finn, and I'm just going to say, the leader feels quite bad, because you are just killing off different upgrades just to put shields on, and shields are already temporary, so if they're like, shields are quite nice to kind of prevent damage. It doesn't stop instant removal effects, like can't it just instantly remove things, like just instantly break things. So it does stop damage, but then you've got to take away things like experience, which is probably better on the card, depending, to put a shield on. Or you're taking off upgrades on it, or different things that you're taking off friendly upgrades, which are things you have to play, not things your opponent puts on it, just to give it a shield, which could be useful depending on the unit. But most of the time, you just potentially taking experience. Like, the best way to really use this is to equip the mentor upgrade. I can't remember, something mentor upgrade. So you can then, when it swings both effects of Finn's and the upgrade trigger, so use the upgrades effect to put a experience token on a friendly unit. And then Finn take off that experience to put a shield on instead. So you kind of go, here's an experience, actually no, wait, here's a shield with Finn. But it means you have to run blue-green just to basically have that without the aspect penalty, and just to make Finn what's up playable. While he's got not too bad stats, doesn't seem worth playing outside of any different blue leaders, which is a shame. But you can maybe have potential, but I just didn't see it. But then, yeah, for now he's just Jar Jar bad. Then we got Ray, and this is going straight up going strong. I reckon this Ray is a very good leader because she is a leader that gives you restore free, so that way you're healing 3 damage per base of swinging. And pretty decent stats. She's straight away out the way of takedown by having 6 health instead of 5. And when she attacks, just ability on both sides is to give an experience token, an experience upgrade to a unit that has 2 or less power. And she is a 2 power unit herself, so as soon as she swings when she's deployed, she can then do it to herself, so she can make herself a free 7, and then after that you want to make sure you get that first so you can get the full benefit, then chuck a Jedi lightsaber on her or something else, so that way she's upgraded and then just hitting hard and hard to remove. And even though we got Rivals 4 in this set, meaning you could take out any unit now, you still have to play blue for that, and you still have to pay 6. But for now, she's a very good unit, boosting up your lower cost units at the beginning, lower powered ones, and then when she deploys, started hitting hard and also healing as well quite well. Like that on top of the healing you do get in blue as well is really, really useful. So I think she's pretty strong and could be one of the leaders we see do well in the set 2 meta. Then we got Luke, and I think Luke's more casual now because while he's pretty nice, he was pretty nice with the whole gimmick of giving a shield. The only problem is he does come down with pretty good stats at 4/7 and have his own signature lightsaber. He is quite nice in the fact he gives shields. The only problem is on the leader side you do have to play under curve, being that you have to play with an energy deficiency, so that way you can use that energy to give the card a shield. And it's always to the first it's always to a unit you've played and a heroic unit. So it's not to any unit, it's to a heroic unit and one you've played that turn. So if you won for the first turn, you can't give it to that. If you had one that same turn, you've got an energy to give it a shield token to as well. And then when he does deploy, you can then start swinging and give him a shield. But if he's taken out straight away, or if you have no units to give a shield to, he's pretty useless. Now, he has got good stats. He's pretty nice, but I think he's more of a casual leader now. There are better leaders for blue, but then he is quite nice. He can do quite well, but he's a lot easier to play around, and yeah, not as great as the Ebras at the moment. So that is for the blue one. So we're finished with blue now. And we can see we've got 3 strong ones in Iden, Ray, and Kira. We've got 3 ones that I feel are rogue tier, being Chirrut, Gar, and Krennic. We've got 2 casual potential with Luke and Chewie. And then we got first Jar Jar bad tier leader, being Finn. So now we go on to the next one. The next color being yellow. Green. And we're going with the dark side, so we still have Palpatine. So Palpatine, I don't think it's gonna be meta, but he is gonna be very strong, I feel. So I think he's gonna be above these ones in strong. Cause he's gonna be one of the best of the control leaders, because he can just, once you get to the late game and can deploy and stuff, it's very hard to take him down. And he can be utilized many few different ways. You can play him in blue-green, which is a very good way to play him. Yellow, you got yellow-green as well, which is a very good way, my favorite way of playing him at the moment. You can got double green if you want to go with the gimmick of Endless Legion, which could actually do very well. We've got a lot of ramp. You got, I think, all the ramp in there, apart from the new one for the light side, but you've still got the command to resupply and super laser technician to keep ramping up, get those 14 just down and just play out a load of stuff. And you got some very good, very big, hard to take down units from that as well. And you can potentially do a very good play if you go each of the spaceships, Vader and Maul, and then if you go and be yellow, or even if you want to sneak them in just a double green, you can have Bodhi and Bazine, so you can look at your opponent's hand and ditch any things like super laser blast, so you can't just take out your Empire board after you've dropped it. But also be giving yourself a huge board that, even with Finalizer, just gobbles up all your opponent's stuff. So you can have a pretty cool thing with that. You play a different way. You can play it red-green, even though red-green's a better way to play with Vader if you're going for that one. But he's a very strong leader and one to look out for as well. We got Tarkin. Tarkin is one I feel is a pretty good rogue. I wouldn't say higher than Chirrut, even though I could be even biased here by saying it's not Chirrut, but I think he's a very good one. It's a very good way to play with blue. You can play him different ways as well. Play blue, or play it red, or even play him You can play double green as well if you want to. I've actually played against some of my locals who played double green. It did quite well. Like you can like ramp up quite quickly and then deploy things, big things quite quickly, and give him experience as well thanks to Tarkin. And he gets a bit more support from like some of the everyone's like like the Dark Troopers replace like cell block cards and stuff like that. And he is a pretty nice word player. And you can play like if you play with blue, you can play it very controlling and even do things like give uh the regional governor like extra experience to kind of survive, locking things out of place and making it harder for it to take out. Is a pretty nice way to play as well. And then you got Hondo. Now Hondo, I think, is one that's got more potential than it is. I don't think Hondo is amazing just because of the fact it's all about smuggle. It's all about smuggling. His whole deal is smuggling. And while we do get smuggle cards, like this is a set that introduce smuggle as a keyword, we do have those in. We don't have as many cards with smuggle. Like do have some good, you do have some, but some are like the smuggle cost. Well, the problem with smuggle cost is that it's always more expensive than the actual card, unless you've got tech, and you can't really play tech in here unless you want to play aspect penalty because tech's still from the good side, but Hondo's the dark side, and you've like the smuggle cost is always more expensive than the cards. And if you want to make use of Hondo, like he does when he deploys, he's pretty good. He comes down at a 3 attack with raid 1, so swinging for 4 and 7 health, which is very good stats, and it's 6 resources when he deploys, which is very good. But he doesn't do anything apart from doing things to smuggle. Now you can deploy him and smuggle things out so you can get the experience to himself, so he stays out and he gets like stronger and stronger. But then you got to start playing. You can't really do much smuggling early, and if you do smuggling early, you kind of like you're very limited on what you've got because there's very few cards of smuggle. Like even though it's smuggles introduced, there's very few like cards of smuggle, and most of them are quite expensive and not the greatest cards either. So you have to watch out for that. But then as we get, but I think he's in the potential one, and I think better potential than the rest, the other ones, because of the fact. Actually, I'll put Chewie here because I think with more keys, Chewie could be even better. But then with Hondo, he gets a lot better the more smuggle cards we get, and the better smuggle cards we get in future sets, the better he gets. And so yeah, he's all around. Like his whole thing is around smuggle, and when we get more and better smuggle targets, he'd be a lot better. But for now, the smuggle targets aren't the best and are more costly, so you're kind of playing badly just to make use of Hondo, which is not a great thing to do. And then we've got Jabba. Now, Jabba I feel could be pretty strong. Like Jabba's a pretty nice one because he's a very bulky leader, and he also gives you reduced cost on things because he's got the whole thing of giving bounty by tapping himself, no matter if he's a leader or deployed, and putting a bounty on your opponent's cards. So when they're captured or defeated, you can gain a reduction on the next card you play by either 1 if it's on the leader area or 2 if it's deployed. And when he does deploy, he lets one of your cards capture a card, which goes very well with things like Dryden Voss, allowing you to play out the captured card as if it was your own, which is cool. So you got like a nice way to play, and you can play in red with like the bounty hunter stuff, like the underworld things. You can play it in blue if you want to play controlling as well, like all green, dark blue, or all dark side, green, blue combos are pretty nice. You can play in yellow as well because there's a lot of bounty hunter underworld stuff from like even set 1 and set 2 from yellow. So you can play him very nicely. You can play in double green if you wanted to go with, once again, an Endless Legion kind of focus. But I think he's quite nice because he's going to be a huge boy. He's got some damage to him. It also has like his own personal rancor, which is quite nice. And yeah, you can just like capturing stuff and also having like the reduction of cost. Because if you like playing correctly, you build it correctly, you can start playing out some bigger things a little bit cheaper thanks to his bounty. And then for the last Dark Side one, we got Moff Gideon, and I think Moff Gideon is quite bad because why he does come down with not too bad stats, 3-6 at 5 resources. The problem is he's all about giving a boost to things when they attack battle cards, like attack about like specific only like free costs. Like it doesn't gain any benefit when you start playing higher costing cards. It's all about the free cost, and if you want to play like a more like weenie spam that kind of goes hard, you might as well play Leia or like kind of Sabine if you want to play more aggro route out like weenie spam, or even weenie spam with Tarkin. Tarkin can at least give a bonus to the cards that are permanent rather than just when they're attacking. So I don't think Moff Gideon's that great. I think he's better than Finn though, but I don't think he's that great compared to what the other dark side of the green leaders offer. Right, and then next we go on to the light side. So we've only got 4 of the light side ones. Like we've got 9 leaders in each, but some had an extra one from like the starters. Every aspect has the same amount of leaders, but got some having a little bit more in one side than the other. Now for Hera, this is once again back, still back into potential casual, because white could be quite nice. There's only one real way I feel to play it, which is to play double green, because it gives you the best chance of like your ramping to kind of play out more, like hit high resources, you can start getting things on the board. And while you do have a bigger pool than even though we got a bigger card pool now with like double the size of the card pool for each different aspects, she does get a bigger card pool thanks to having all the specters you can play, because she knows the specter aspects. But then still, outside of that, having be able to play these specters, all the different specters, no matter the aspect penalty, you still don't have any effects. Like when she does deploy, you can then start when she attacks, give experience to unique units. But her whole gimmick, just like with Hondo, is on a specific thing, being specters. So we didn't get any new specters set too, so she hasn't really changed. And she's got some more green cards, things like that, but she hasn't really changed like what specters we've got to kind of make use of. While the specters we already had were really good, we need to get more specters, and when we do, they're like her like ability to be played might even change to be better. But for now, she's more of a like one with potential, relying on the whatever specters we get to kind of boost us up herself. Then we got Leia, and Leia is rogue, where I thought she was gonna be better than Sabine in terms of aggro deck, because then she can attack more attack more often in less actions than Sabine. Like you potentially put a lot of damage in and just attack more often. Like take less actions to attack more, so you can then like take the initiative in the next turn, and it's like I keep pushing damage quite heavily. But unlike Sabine, she relies heavily on actually having things on in your arenas. So things like also rebels deployed. They're not short of rebels in the light side of the light side of green, or even any aspect. But you do need a board. So if your opponent's able to kind of manage your board, then you're less likely to get the most benefit out of Leia, because she's all about attacking with a rebel and then attacking with a never rebel straight after. And if you don't have a never rebel to attack with after, you're not really getting the most of her effect. She needs 2 cards, being 2 before she's deployed to basically swing with them both together, or when she's deployed, another one with her to attack. So she can attack and then never one attack straight after her. But if your board gets controlled, it's not as great. Like you have a harder time, but she can be very aggressive if you can't clear the board. So I think she is quite rogue. She could do quite well. She has done quite well in some events, but she's a lot more manageable compared to things like Sabine, which kind of it's not as not as great as Sabine. And we got Boba here. So Boba, I think Boba's more rogue. I think he could do quite well, but his only benefit is giving a boost to things with keywords. And while you got one of the best keywords being ambush, is like being very nice ones, so you can ambush and be a little bit stronger on that ambush. And even like overwhelm is a keyword skill, so giving more power to a card and be able to just like boost up anything that's got a keyword, even things with radius, so a little bit stronger and stuff like that as well. It still, that sort of thing, just giving other things doesn't do anything outside of that. Just giving cards with keywords means you have to play cards with keywords to get the benefit of it. And if you're doing that, you're basically missing out on the benefits of the other ones. And now, while the light side of green is not the best thing, like you rather play kind of Leia to get the benefit of like just going hard, especially since the majority of the light side cards are rebels. So you want to go for a more rebel focus. I think Leia is a lot better. But then Boba Fett also has access to his armor as well, so you can make you like his armor even yellow. If you play with yellow, you have access to the armor, and some pretty nice things there as well. So I think he's a pretty nice rogue leader, but I think he's the lowest one out of compared to the ones currently. And then we've got Hunter. Now I think he is. I don't think he's bad, but he's the lowest of the potential, because he's got potential for the more unique cards we get. Like, cause he's got very good stats at 5'8", coming down at 7. So same as Vader, like Vader stats at Vader deployment. And he's even in the aspect where he's got ramp built in, because he's got the green aspect, so he's got ramp without needing to have a green base. And he's even got overwhelm as well, so you can do only attacks a unit. You can do the excess damage to your opponent's base. I mean, you can like control board will also do on damage to base as well. And he's got the bad batch. Now the only problem is like he doesn't have the same thing as Sabine, where you can ignore the aspect. Like bad bat's not a trait, unlike Spectre, so you can't ignore the aspect penalty on like clones or the Bad Batch, and the Bad Batch are spread out of different colors. You got Crosshair, which is still in green, but he's in the dark side of green. You got Asp Funny there. I do have Omega, which can reduce, which ignore the Asp Funny the first one you play, or the first clone you play, but it needs this 5 on board, and it's only a 2 cost 2/2 with no protection on it, so no shield on it. If it came in shielded, that would be a little bit different, a little bit better. But yeah, you need to keep Omega around, so make sure you can actually play some of these ones. If you want to play it thematically with the Bad Batch, you're gonna have a hard time. But in the light side of green, you've got a fair bit of ramp and a bit of different options. You've got some really nice cards as well, like they're in the Marauder, their own spaceship, which will ramp you as well. You've got Echo, which can also boost things that are unique and like set up things like Hunter and Marauder, and you also got Tech as well. So pretty nice cards, but I feel it's more casual, but then there's more potential to have more like more of the Bad Batch or more get good stuff in the aspect combo. But for now, it's just more of a casual deck than it has potential. So looking for the green, we still haven't had the meta because I don't think any of the blue green ones are the meta for the first one. I think they're it's more in the yellow and red for like a spoiler there. But for green, we've got 2 strong decks being Palpatine and Jabba. We've got some rogue ones being Tarkin and Leia. We've got Hondo, Hera, and we've got Hondo and Hera being cards that have like leaders that have more potential, and then Hunter being a more casual deck, and then Moff Gideon, which I just think is Jar Jar bad. So then we go into the red leaders, and we'll start off with the dark side again, and we'll start off with Vader, and I think Vader is a meta leader because you can play him very nice ways. You can play him you got more of an option to play him double red for this set to give him more firepower, more aggression with the aggro stuff, the aggression stuff like double aspect. You've also got he's a very good leader playing around green. Green got some more good units as well, red as well. You also have a good way to play him for control in blue as well, and you can even play him quite nicely with yellow as well, with more ambush stuff and more good dark side stuff that isn't more dark side stuff that isn't really focused on underworld. Well, I feel it's underworld and battle, but they're more options for yellow as well playing that way, along with more upgrades and nice cards with that. But I think he's because he was one of the best ways to kind of deal with Boba and stuff. For set 1, I think you had a kind of triangle with Sabine, Vader, and Boba, and I feel he's one of the ones I'd expect to see for the meta, one of the most effective ways, because he's got a very strong effect and comes in hard when he does get deployed as well. Then we got Grand Inquisitor, and that's going to be one that's pretty strong because with I think he's going to be quite far up there for Grand Inquisitor because his whole thing is about letting damaging units that have 3 or less power so they can restand and basically restand. And we get a lot more units that have 3 or less power in the next set. We get more a bigger card pool and more units that have 3 power. And not only that, we have a lot more units that have grit in set 2. And grit's nice because it means that damage you're doing to a unit gets converted to power. So now you can damage something that's got 3 power. Now it's got an extra 2 power thanks to grit, and it is hitting even harder because now it's been restood. And you've got so many more cards that in the next set, even in just aggression itself for the different aspects that have grit on them and very nice effects to go with it and good power to go with Grand Inquisitor. That is just going to shoot up to be a very good dark side aggressive deck, having a lot more options for its own effect. Then we got IG, and IG is Jar Jar bad. It's just Jar Jar bad. There's slightly potential for him, but then we don't know if this is ever going to come along because when you just look at a dark side red leader, why not play Vader, a Grand Inquisitor, or even Bossk or Kylo? IG is just, I've seen him played once, and it was played pretty well when I was played against it my store championships. Outside of that, I've never seen it played, or if it has been played, it's not been very good, and it just doesn't seem like a worth leader play unless you really like the character. Sorry to say, but that's just how I feel for that one. Then we got Bossk, and I'm putting Bossk as more potential because he's all around getting all around bounties, but the bounties aren't as strong as I originally thought they were going to be. When we first saw the bounties and what they do, I thought they were pretty cool. But you have to draw into the bounties, which is quite difficult in this game because you don't draw that big hand size. and then play him on like your opponent's unit and then take him out. And you have to be deployed if you want to get that. Like the best thing about him is you get the double claim of bounties. If you take out something while he's deployed as a bounty, you get to claim it twice as long as it's possible to claim it twice. And so you can like put something the bounty on your head upgrade that lets you ramp when the unit's taken out. You can do that, deploy, take it out, and then ramp twice, which is pretty nice. But you've got to draw into these. The problem is you've got to draw into these bounties, and there's a way to kind of search the bounties, but it's in yellow. So unless you're playing yellow with it, like he's not yellow himself. So unless you're playing yellow with him, you're not really using the other bounty different ones. You've got the good ones in blue, good ones in green, and you got nice ones in yellow. And the better, like you got a good one in each of the different aspects. You've got the blue one that gives shields, red one that draws you 2 cards, green one that ramps, and yellow one that untaps resources. So pretty nice ones each one, but then there's not way, unless you want to play the aspect penalty, to play those bounties on things and then take them out and get the effects. Yeah, like if bounties were easier to get, or there are more bounties, like there are bounties on some cards, but then you have to hope your opponent has them because you've played them. There's not many way. There's no really way to. There's only one card that allows you to give a card that has a bounty to your opponent. Even then, if you do take it out, you can't recoup it twice, so it's not great. But I think he's got some potential with more bounties we get, if it's easy to get them. But for now, I don't think he's that great, but he does have potential. Then we have Kylo. Kylo, I would say, is pretty strong because he's a very strong aggro deck, but I'd say like it could be quite flimsy, depending on like what you draw. If your opponent's able to like can just control what you bring out. And he's never a leader that can be taken out instantly because he's only got 4 health, not even by like takedown, but by things like ambush. You can just drop something by the time you get to zone 4, you can actually ambush something in and just take it out with that, or even the turn after. Now you could be a very, very, very aggressive deck in different aspect combinations with like yellow and red, or even more controlling or even like rampy and like focusing on abusing the effect to ditch a card from hand to boost something up, and then fuel like Palpatine's Return to play something from this card for cheaper using Palpatine's Return, or even play it with blue, just add a bit of healing while also a bit of aggression to it as well, and then having access to like Rey in it as well. And I think he could be quite good, but he's not as strong as some of the other ones, but he's a very strong one that could potentially like see and do well in events and even top, depending on the aggro he gets. And next we have is Sabine, and that's straight away jumping up into the meta one, because we already saw it was one of the strongest leaders in the game for set 1, one like the best, most aggressive aggro decks, and it doesn't change anything from set 1, because not only does she gain some more units, more options to have like cheaper units that with good cost to just shut down and play with, she also has access to the Darksaber. And the nice thing about the Darksaber is if the card you play it on is Mandalorian, it ignores the aspect penalty, and Sabine is a Mandalorian. So you can deploy as early as turn 3 on 4 resources, and then that same turn, because the Darksaber costs 4, you can just chuck Darksaber on her. She then becomes a 6/8, which is then out of the way, unless someone drops takedown and take her out straight away. You put the Darksaber straight on her. She's now 6/8, and she's swinging at base for 7 damage. 6 damage from like her attacking, and 1 extra damage from her effect. Ping your opponent's bases for your opponent's base for 1. And then she's also boosting Mandalorians, which so if you play some Mandalorians with her and play some of those out for the first and second turn, you can then boost them up with the Darksaber, and then you just basically hitting the base even harder than you were before, which is crazy good. So I think like she's still one of the most aggro deck in the game, and still one of the ones to look out for, like kind of like expect to play against in an event. And if she gives him stronger with things like the Darksaber, which don't even need to worry about the aspect she's running, she can run that regardless because she's a Mandalorian. We've also then next got Cassian, and this is more one that said, I think potential, because nothing's really changed for him. He's got more units you can play out, but then it wasn't the problem. It's more the fact that just to get his effect the draw, you've got just like Luke, you've got to be in a energy deficit where you've got to at least have an energy open. So when you do 3 damage to your opponent's base, you can pay 1 to draw a card, and you do is drawing a card, giving you more options. But then it's not as very restricting. You have to deal 3 damage. If you can't do 3 damage, you're not really getting any benefit out of it. And when he does deploy and start attacking, he does have Saboteur, so you can ignore Sentinels and go straight to your base to draw cards. Then, like, he's got pretty decent stats, but then it's just playing an energy deficit isn't great, isn't helpful, really. Like, even with Rape, you can play an energy deficit, but at least she's giving, like, she's not really, it's not as restrictive as like with Luke. You have to be the card you play and a specific kind of aspect. It just has to be an aspect like a card with 2 power less. If you don't play a card with 2 power less, you don't carry. You just carry on doing like playing things out. But then she at least can boost herself and actually survive, and has a bit of healing when she's deployed, like healing free and boosting things when she attacks. It's quite nice. But then Cassian, all about doing a little bit of draw. He is quite interesting, but he hasn't really done anything we've seen in any events, and you rarely see him played, and that's a good reason why, because he isn't that great. But he is something you can play quite nice for casual as well. Then we got Bo-Katan, and I feel this could be pretty nice because it's all about Mandalorians, and we got a fair good ones in blue and red. So you can play it. This is probably going to be used as mainly blue red focus deck, just so you can make use of all the Mandalorians. Also have the Darksaber in it, so you can do it like same thing as Sabine, just more. It's not as great as Sabine, we're not as aggressive because she's probably a little bit later. As more her effects more tailored around Mandalorians, but she's quite nice because you can put Darksaber on to just boost her up to make it to a 8-10, and then boosting up all your Mandalorians when she swings. And as well as that, she gets more of like ping damage on units when she swings a Mandalorian, or even on the same side. Just not worrying about too much about your opponent's board, attacking and finish them off by a bit of damage thanks to her effect. And we've got Han, and I think Han is going to be I think Han is going to be a meta deck, because a very nice thing to do is play things cheaper than actually are. So playing a free cost on turn 1, like take 2 damage to it, like you do, like you play something a little bit cheaper, 1 cheaper, but it does take damage. But that damage doesn't matter if you're just if it's got grit, that just adds the power, makes it even stronger, which is very nice. And if you can get an attack in before being taken out, it's at least your opponent's got to invest in attacking that rather than your base to kind of deal with it. You just constantly dropping stuff, and it's both sides. Like on the leader's side, you have to tap to do it, but on when you're deployed, there's no restriction. You can do it as many times as you've basically got resources and stuff and units to play, got cards in hand. I feel Hand's going to be very nice because you can do it in different aspects, just playing things out cheaper and also having pretty decent stats. Like, once again, 6 health is pretty nice, not going to be straight away taken out, and drops at 5 resources, which is pretty early as well. So those are the red leaders, and we've got our first ones in the meta being Sabine, Vader, and Solo. It's for the meta leaders. We've got 2 strong ones in Grand Inquisitor and Kylo. We've then got a rogue one in Bo-Katan. We've got one with potential in Bosk and one casual in Cassian, and then we've got the Jar Jar Bad IG-88. Now we're gonna see if we get a 4th one, one of each in Jar Jar Bad. I'm gonna go through yellow. Straight off, we start with Boba, and easily, Boba is going to be probably looks to be one of the best decks in the meta once again, because it hasn't really lost anything, and there has been the rule changes about leaders now entering play and leaving play when they deploy and leave, which then adds makes the unit a little bit less, because now a leader is currently entered play, so it's not been there or in play to cover his effect. But the Boba leader, now if a leader's taken out, now you can untap 2 from it, because now it's actually classed as leaving play in it when it does go back to leader area. So you get benefit, plus you even get some new cards. You get a lot of good new cards, and he already Underworld's the main theme for the cards in yellow for set 1, and now set 2, the main focus of the whole set being Underworld, is nice to get even more for set 2 as well. So you got even more options for playing mono yellow or just different aspect combinations, and you get some more good cards, like it was played mainly like green or double yellow, and you get more good cards in both those aspects for Boba, which is very nice. Like you get Maul as well, which is a never option with Vader, or instead of Vader, depending if you want to go for the more budget way. If you can't afford Vader, don't have Vaders, that you can basically even choose Boba to take damage instead, and even Boba having his own armor, meaning that he gains a +2 to his stats, and if he would take damage, you reduce that by 2. Reduce that damage by 2, which is very, very good. Just all around more cards to do well. Like no negatives to him, and he's just still one of the top dogs in the game. Then we've got Thrawn. Now this is, I'll say it's rogue because this is one that people do play as like blue yellow and as like play a very heavy control, but then until we realized that kind of Boba does that same aspect combination better. But it's quite nice when you do see it placed often. People do actually still run it as well to kind of try and do well. And it's mainly blue, so it's one that you don't really play in many aspects, only one kind of aspect being yellow-blue, but also a different, quite cool way to play it. Very good control deck with pretty nice stats to boot with a good effect. Then we got Cad Bane, and I feel this is going to be a I reckon it's been like a strong deck because it's a never like double aspect for yellow is always very good, and he's a never leader in the underworld aspect. Can make use of the underworld cards, so he gets a good use out of the cards from set one underworld that we already had, and for his own ones, and it's all about like pinging damage as well. And you can do quite a lot of damage to help that can just control the board very easily, while also disrupting your opponent while pushing damage as well with him, which is very nice. He comes down with a solid 8 health, which is very good, and only 2 power. So it means when he's attacked, he only is doing 2 back, but he's got raid 2, meaning when he does attack himself, he is hitting quite hard. So I think he's a pretty nice one out there and one to expect to see to do well, but not to expect like definitely run into a tournament, but still to see do well in the game. Then we've got Dr. Alpha, and this is one that I think has the best potential because her effect is really nice. She does mill herself, so if you wanted to make her into control with blue, you can mill yourself out so you get to like decking yourself out quickly, so you can start like restocking the cards you definitely want to draw into the game to kind of like have a total control at the end game. But you can mill cards that you can be quite unlucky mill cards that you don't want to mill or even hit like all your restocks. So that way you do then kind of have a hard time actually doing the loop. And also, she does have a nice effect where she's deployed. She can pick 3 cards from discard pile, and then you randomly get 1 back to your hands. You can kind of grab the most useful card you want, but you have to be 3 different cards, not the same card 3 times. But then her ability is all around like what's in your discard and discard effects. And at the moment, we haven't really got any discard effects or any things that kind of benefits being on discard, apart from things like restock and stuff like that. And then there's the upgrade from what was it? The upgrade from blue. I can't remember what it's called, but it's the upgrade where if something's sticking out this turn, you can play it from your drop, paying its cost. So you got that, but yeah, like it's not the best. Like she has a lot of potential because the more things we get that interact with the Discord or play from the discard, she gets a lot better at using. But the problem with that is we need to see those. We don't have that. We don't really have any or many now. But she's one that in the future, if we get a good amount of cards that you can play from the Discord or interact with the discard better, then she can be a lot better. But for now, she's not that great, but she has good potential. So that's the dark side of it. Now we're going to go into the light side, and we've got Han. I reckon Han is going to jump up to meta because we've got more things we play and more cards, as well as more ramp and more things. And while you might be thinking it's going to be harder to kind of do what to do, like a bit more hand control, we got some more hand control cards, more cards to your hand, and things like that. But smuggle kind of counteracts that. Like Han's very good at smuggling things because he can do the whole thing about ramping his own cards and like smuggling things out. So you can like ramp stuff, smuggle out from your discard, from your resources. So that way you're not really using anything from hand. So you're not worried about your hand size because you're smuggling it from the discard. And he can play in quite a few different ways as well. You can play very good in red, play very good in green. Like we've already seen him done very well in green, but you can also play him in double yellow because now you got more options and more things to smuggle and stuff, and even things like tech that can make all your cards in your resource have smuggle, so you can not worry about it. So you have really nice things in that. And I'm looking forward to playing a bit more Han and like try him out because he's a nice character I really like. Not one of my favorite, but then I do want to try it, and I do like the leader. Then we got Jin, and I think Jin is Jar Jar bad. Like I did give her the benefits of the doubt last time. I think she was a more casual, but then there's nothing she does that like her effect isn't as beneficial. Like she does kind of good stats and effect allows you to trade, but then she doesn't do much more than that. You can trade, and once you're taken out, you can make when she's in the leader area, you can make 1 thing you attack with the less damage. But then with smuggle, going with a hand control route of it kind of is not as great now. Like hand control doesn't pose that much of a threat because smuggle, and even when we got only a limited smuggle and about a few more hand control cards, the more smuggle cards we get, the better kind of the more smuggle cards we get, the less useful and less effective hand control becomes. But she is not too bad. I think she's like the best of the Jar Jar bads, but she's not still she's Jar Jar bad. Like if you want to play a light side of yellow or like a white yellow leader, there are better options we've seen with like things like Han Solo and stuff. And then we got Fennec. Now Fennec I think could be, I'm not sure if strong, because I think she could be quite good in Rogue, because she can offer the whole thing like turn anything into ambush. And while there are some cards that have ambush, she only gives ambush to things that cost 4 or less, so not the power of like of what's it called, the ELC base, which allows you ambush anything 6 cost or less as long as you pay the cost. And like just like with the other leads, the other ones where like Cassian and Luke, you got to play on energy deficiency because you've got to pay 1 to do the ambush, but until she's deployed. And when she does deploy, which is 5, which is quite quickly, she only has stats of 4/4, means she can easily be taken out. Unlike Ida, she doesn't come with a shield, and she can be easily taken out by things like takedown or even by an attack as well. But she does have Saboteur, and she can do her effect without needing to pay resources, which is quite nice. But or she can do ambush and like kind of like go with a bit of control via ambushing things quite easily. You do have some really good like cards in the light side of green. Because remember, light side, because if you think about like the cards used for things like Leia and Sabine for like aggro, you got those same ones that have access to Fennec, but you now can give ambush. You can give me like Battlefield Battalion. Well, no, Battlefield Marine. Ambush that in free with ambush using Fennec. You even got K2SO. You can come and ambush in red free. You got the red green swatch and A-wing, red free things. You can ambush all these cards in, so you can kind of control your opponent's board while establishing these really good cards kind of hit hard. So I think she is rogue. She could do quite well, but then you just got to work out a list for it and work out how it works for you. Now, Lando, I feel this is more casual. Yeah, I think Lando's very casual because he's got a weird effect where you can smuggle things in for 2 less, but if you do that, you lose a resource, which means you can always be. There's going to be a point where you start like charging just to make sure you keep the same resources in, smuggle things in, and just like with Han, if you do get hand controlled and start losing hand, you don't have to worry about it because you can basically be resourcing a card and playing things from resource. You have to worry about that. And with tech, you can give all your cards smuggle, so everything becomes smuggleable from your resources for the same cost, because tech gives everything in your resource the smuggle with its cost being its cost plus 2 and the same aspects. And then Lando smuggles in a card for 2 less from its smuggle cost. So tech adds 2, Lando takes off 2, so you basically smuggle things for what their cost and their aspects in their resources. But every time you're doing, you're sacking off energy, which means you're not really getting too high with your resources. But he is interesting. He can deploy as early as Sabine as well. Same stats as Sabine as well, just 2/5, which is not too bad. But then I'm not sure like how I build it. Like he's one that's very confusing, which could be built right if like depending if someone builds it very good, well, or finds a good way to use it, could be nice. But for now, I think it's quite casual. But I could be proven wrong if it's not. And then it brings us to the last one, being the Mandalorian. Now, while I would love this to be a lot higher, I do think actually no, I do think he's going to be strong, probably lower in the strong, because he's all about upgrades. But then there are some pretty nice upgrades, especially for the Mandalorian. You got the Darksaber you can put on him to give him a good boost, making him an 8 free if you want to focus on Mandalorians. But there's not many in yellow, but you can put him with blue or anything to do it, because whichever has the better Mandalorians or more Mandalorians you want to use for its effect, you can put his base stat that have access to them, and then the Darksaber doesn't worry about if you put it on him about the aspect, because once again he's a Mandalorian, so you put the Darksaber on him, you don't have to worry about having green among your aspects, and you get some really good ones. You get anything you upgrade something, you can rest things a certain amount of health. It's all about health, so 4 or less health when he's in the leader area, 6 or less when he's out. It does come in with pretty good stats, 4-7. And also you have some good upgrades. You have snapshot reflexes, you have the Mandalorian's armor, dark sabers. You got pretty nice, even like hotshot blaster as well. One you could smuggle in, which is a cool one. As like you can smuggle in, so you don't have to run red. So you got some pretty nice ones there for the Mandalorian. And you got he's like in good aspects as well with yellow. Yellow's got some pretty good cards, especially in the good side of it as well. And you got some good Mandalorians and good cards depending on what you go with aspect wise. And I feel he could be quite strong. Probably not most popular, but probably like lower end of strong. But I think he could do quite well. But that is it for the tier list. So it's been quite a lengthy one, good old hour going through this, going over the leaders, because you now have, what, 36 leaders? It's a lot of leaders. But then come to the conclusion here with my tier list or my view. We've got I expect there to be 5 meta leaders, being Boba, Sabine, Vader, Solo, and both solo leaders. And there's going to be a good 9 strong leaders, being Palpatine, Iden, Grand Inquisitor, Rey, Cad Bane, Jabba, Kira, Kylo, and the Mandalorian. Now, with the strong ones, I'm not like I tried to put them in kind of what I feel the order is, like from left to right being what I feel strongest from all the tiers. But as it gets down to for like Rogue, it's kind of I'm not trying to do as best as I can, but then it could like some I feel might go a bit up, but then I'm just gonna leave them there for now. And for Rogue, I think you got Chirrut, Tarkin, Fennec, Gar, Bo-Katan, Leia, Krennic, Boba, and Thrawn. And then you've got for like the ones I think you have potential are Dr. Alpha, Dr. Alpha, and then Bosk, Hondu, Hera, and Chewbacca. And then the ones I think are more casual are Lando, Luke, Cassian, and Hunter. And then the ones I think in charge about, which each aspect does have, is Jin, Moff Gideon, IG-88, and Finn. I think are just bad ones, like ones that aren't going to be great. So that's it. So if you have any comments, if you feel like I'm wrong for any reason, like I've put them in the wrong reason, do comment down below if you think it. If you do agree or have any reason why I think if should be aware, or why if there's a good reason why, or I think you should go on the list, let me know in the comments down below. Because I might have missed things, not read up some things, because I would have missed things, like people, like if you think about it with the meta, like Palpatine wasn't really running in, like at the end of the format we saw that this yellow Palpatine could be a good way to run it, and then it started getting more popular, and like I had a lot of fun playing and didn't realize it until the end of the format. And like people do miss some, because there's some things that people might try, or like a leader combination with something else that haven't been tried, and could be actually quite strong, quite fun. And not everybody's going to see absolutely everything, but if you see anything or have any comments on it, just comment below and I'll go through it and answer it best I can. And that is it for me today. So thank you for watching. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next one. Bye for now.
Like a boss.